gister weer gesê het, was ek gekom om net te kom klaarmaak, maar lyk my ons het goed gedoen so. Ek het nog nooit so 'n rowwe reis hier gery nie. Dit was net bly ons het klaar gemaak, ons strategie het gewerk. En Toyota het 'n groot aandeel hier aan, want ek meen hulle het ons vreeslik baie gehelp met die voorbereiding. So deel van die sukses kom aan hulle.
Only 15 of the 36 production vehicles made it to the finish of one of the toughest Nissan Sugarbelt 400s ever. Shamir Variawa and Nadine Dudia led the special vehicles category in the Oven Fresh Biscuits Porter, but had Brandon Harkus and Achim Bergman, who were not fazed by the dust, hard on their heels in the adrenalized corporate entertainment bat. Mark Corbett and Gavin Kelsey weren't far behind in the Century Property Development's bat, and the race had the makings of a real USA versus RSA dogfight, which had been dubbed as the Battle of Eston. The order this early in the race had not changed much from the prologue results, and Berthold and Kennelly were still fourth, but were faced with an exclusion for not repairing the fused headlight at the start. Porter and Swart were clearly on a mission in the Procoat Jimco that Greg Harvey used to win the 2002 Special Vehicle Championship. Terence Marsh and Michael Whitehouse were also in contention in the Nashua Mobile Jimco and could just spring a surprise win, while Clint Gibson and Mike Brown in the Presidium bat desperately wanted to shed the bridesmaids' mantle that they have assumed and pulled off a maiden victory. Van Jaarsveld was a dark horse in the Class B ACECO, while Philip Vosloo and Evan Hutchinson's run would come to an end when the front end of the bat was ripped off after a wild ride through the forest. Harkus and Bergman were now the new leaders and starting to open up a large gap on the rest of the special vehicle field. Corbett and Kelsey were now second. But what about Variawa and Dudia? Berthold and Kennelly emerged like ghosts from the dust, and then came the porter.
Which way to the pit? Pit. By a substation up top here. You'll have to just weave your way through the cane, but watch out, there'll be oncoming traffic. Let's get on the route, let's get steady on the route. Get on the route, there's a tar road, not so far from it, just back on it.
Porter and Swart were fifth, but their race would soon be run when the clutch failed on the Procoat Jimco. The damage to the Porter looked terminal, and Variawa's race was technically over.
This morning we took off 30 seconds behind the Nissans. We got up to I would say about 200 meters behind them, and we were sitting comfortably behind them. We didn't want to overtake them. And next best thing, there was a right-hand turn, and we had a hard thump from the back, and it was Brandon. He obviously didn't know which way he was going. We then hit a spectator car, and he damaged the rear end of the gearbox, the part that holds the power steering and the selectors. We managed to get a spare, and we're just going to drive the car just to feel the car, but for no points, just to finish for no points.
With Variawa now out of the running, Harkus had one less rival to worry about and could concentrate on building on his lead. Behind him, there had been a change in the order, with Marsh and Whitehouse second in the Nashua Mobile Jimco, followed by Class S leaders Schilling and Thorne in the Plastotech Raceco, and Gibson and Brown in the Presidium bat. Corbett and Kelsey had picked up a puncture on the Century Property Development's bat and were way down in fifth place. Marsh and Whitehouse were now the new leaders after Harkus and Bergman had to stop to repair fused headlights and yellow safety lights on the adrenalized corporate entertainment bat, something they would have to do at every light check marshal. Johan van Jaarsveld and Marlene Lindekew had moved up to second overall in the Class B leading ACECO, which had the measure of many of the fast Class A vehicles. Clint Gibson and Mike Brown had managed to get past Schilling and Thorne and were now third overall in second in Class A in the Presidium bat. They couldn't afford to relax their pace because multiple former champions Schilling and Thorn were still within striking distance in the Nissan V6-powered Plastotech Raceco. Nissan Dealer 400 runners-up Mark Corbett and Gavin Kelsey were on a charge and making up lost ground at quite a rate. Father Ernest Corbett and son-in-law Warwick Husson had grabbed second spot in Class B and were fifth overall in the Century Property Developments bat, with the overheating Atlas Copco bat of Henry Costain and Rainier Euster third in Class B and sixth overall. Atang Machahneni and Mike Stungel were on a mission in the total Jimco. They had started 83rd overall and 49th in the special vehicle category and had moved up to 7th overall and 4th in Class A. But there was another change at the top of the leaderboard. A log had damaged an oil pipe on the Nashua Mobile Jimco, resulting in the diff oil being pumped out and Marsh and Whitehouse losing the lead to Clint Gibson and Mike Brown. The locally built bats were back in control of the Nissan Sugarbelt 400. Corbett and Kelsey were now second overall and starting to pile on the pressure on the race leaders, while behind them there had been a change in the Class B leaderboard. Marcus Taylor and Mark Deschalaine had started with a full fuel load, so they did not have to stop and refuel during the race. After a conservative start, they were now third overall and the new Class B leaders in the John Rowe-built JRE. Gary Campbell was fourth overall and second in Class B in the ultralight Mighty Mag, but had Nick Harper and Andrew Chalupsky in the Audi V8 powered bat looking for a way past. Van Jaarsveld and Lindeque had dropped from second overall and lost the Class B lead and were now sixth, and had Ernest Corbett and Warwick Husson hot on their heels in the Class B Century Property Developments bat. Hamish and Alistair Stubbs were having a steady run in the Fence Erect Viper and were hoping for a top 10 finish. Parkers and Bergman were having a tough day in the adrenalized corporate entertainment bat.
Is our yellow light working? I've got a new white light. Having a bad day, bro. Something keeps shorting out our yellow and white lights. Otherwise the car's a rocket, but no yellow white lights, so every second or third marshal point we have to stop and fix them. But otherwise the car's good, having fun, you know, it's really fast. It's fun to drive something this fast.
Class B championship leaders Roots and de Kock were still in contention and looking for a top 10 finish, as were Machahaneni and Stungel in the total Jimco. John Ware-Smith and Jeff Minnett had started stone last in the Kopanong Hotel Super Team Jimco and withdrew as a result of ongoing fuel problems. Class S championship leader Nick Gosler and Warren Bowie were now the lone Class S runners. The battle for the lead had developed into a nail-biting affair with only 88 seconds separating the first two vehicles. 9 locally built vehicles in the top 10 showed just how much progress has been made in South African off-road racing.